you talk about when you faced England. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he said something to you like pretty much like watch your back. How do you how do you handle pressure like that, and how do you actually? I'm not saying that that's an adverse situation, but how do you deal with difficult situations where you're put under pressure and perhaps adverse situations as well?
Yeah, it was difficult. I didn't enjoy it. That tour, there was far too much uh, coverage on me and what I might do if I got on the test team and become a guy that played for England and New Zealand. It wasn't fair on the rest of the squad. It certainly wasn't fair on the other backs and centres that were in the touring party. And I found it all pretty uncomfortable. I like to think I don't seek the limelight. I didn't try and milk it or anything like that. And it was quite interesting when the first test team got announced for the game in Christchurch. Murray Mexted, the All Black number 8, who I'd played a lot with at Wellington and was the All Black number 8 the next day, rang me up in my room and said, fantastic, great achievement. Lads are looking forward to seeing you. What we're going to do after the game is X, Y, and Z, and we're going to finish up at this club or bar and all the rest of it. So I said, great, Max, look forward to seeing you, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, oh, and by the way, if you come back on a switch, I'm going to take your bloody head off, okay? Good to see you. All right. Yeah, put the phone down. So nothing had changed from that side of the fence. So I didn't change the rules. It wasn't my, me trying to be exceptional or anything else. Just the way the circumstances worked out. It could have easily been somebody else. John Gallagher might have followed suit, 3 or 4 years later, but understandably, or he can speak for himself, Kipper, elected to go to rugby league, took an offer from rugby league after the All Blacks won the World Cup in '87. So he went back, went to league for whatever number it was. Good on it. So it was tricky, and I went into my shell a bit for 2 or 3 days. I find it tricky to handle. I think we've all been dropped. I mean, I got dropped a couple of times. We've all had things not go our way. We've all had a bad injury where in those days you're left on your own pretty much to find your physio and find your rehab and all those sort of stuff. But it's tricky, and it's then where going back to when I first walked in that dressing room is picking those 2 or 3 mates that became close to and say, I'm really pissed off. I'm throw wobbly, throw a run, throw the toys out. And then one of them says, hold on a minute, your life isn't that bad, really, is it? I mean, you've done a bit and all the rest of it. So you then go back to the guys you met who have probably been through the same scenario or, fought through the same scenario. And it's tough. It's tough. We don't, if you're in a competitive environment, you don't like missing out. You don't like being dropped. You don't like, you've pitched for some business in the meeting room with 2 other agencies and you don't win it. And you work your backside off with a team of people doing research, presentations, what's the USP, what sets us apart, da 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 da. Suddenly you don't get it. It's pretty galling. It's pretty galling. That scenario is a lot easier to take because there's 4, 5, 6 of you that have worked on that pitch, probably only 2 front of house. Whereas when you get the call saying you've been dropped, suddenly I'm just in this room by myself, and it's hard. It's hard.